Hi friends, welcome to my channel where I have been talking about recovery from drugs and alcohol. It could also be recovery from any addictive thing. Today I want to go over step 3. Step 3 in a 12-step program is we made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood Him. What does that mean, right? My personal experience with this one is it was very complex for me. I didn't understand. It's not that I didn't understand what it said. It's just I didn't understand how to do it. How do I turn my will and my life over? And also, I just didn't trust God at that time. I felt like God had slighted me, that all the bad things that had happened to me were God's fault. I had lost my sister. My parents were drug addicts and alcoholics, so I didn't have the best childhood. I always felt unprotected and like God, if there was a God, didn't love me. And then after I get into adulthood, I figured that God couldn't love someone like me. I felt very unworthy and like I had just done too many bad things. As I went through the program, however, the steps brought me closer to a God of my understanding. So back to step 3. Step 3 is, I told you, turn your will and your life over to God. So just how do we do that, right? So the number one requirement for this is that we have to be convinced that any life run on self-will can hardly be a success. We're almost always in collision with somebody or something. We have to be convinced that our best ideas got us a seat in these rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous or Narcotics Anonymous or whatever it is that you do. So yeah, our best ideas got us here. So now it's time to turn our will over to a God of our understanding. I'm going to read what it says for step 3 in the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. Just a couple paragraphs here. Just 1 second. Okay, so on page 62, this is a pretty important paragraph. It says, selfishness, self-centeredness, that we think is the root of our troubles. Driven by 100 forms of fear, self-delusion, self-seeking, and self-pity, we step on the toes of our fellows and they retaliate. Sometimes they hurt us seemingly without provocation, but we invariably find that at some time in the past we have made decisions based on self, which later placed us in a position to be hurt. So our troubles, we think, are basically of our own making. Okay, so we as alcoholics and addicts, we cannot afford this selfishness. We have to be rid of the selfishness or it's going to kill us. So we couldn't do it on our own. So we had to have God's help. And that's a jumping off point to step 3, is just to be convinced that our ideas didn't work. Playing God didn't work. I'm going to read another paragraph. When we sincerely took such a position, all sorts of remarkable things followed. We had a new employer. Being all-powerful, he provided what we needed if we kept close to him and performed his work well. So, one moment. So basically what's that saying is, just be good. Do good things. Be kind. Help other people. Just, do the things that you think God would want you to do. And then in return, God takes care of you. And I have had first experience with this. I always say now that God will provide. I struggle, just like anybody. I struggle financially and emotionally and, mentally, all that stuff. As far as the finances go, though, that's a big one, and I know it's a big one for a lot of people. I will not have any idea how I'm going to pay a bill or get something that I want or need, and I always just say to myself, God will provide, and He always does. Whether it's, somebody in my family lends me some money, or I get a random check in the mail, or, whatever. Something always ends up happening so that I can get the things that I need. Last paragraph about step 3. This is the last part. It's going to be the prayer that we say for step 3. Many of us said to our Maker as we understood Him, God, I offer myself to Thee to build with me and do with me as Thou wilt. Relieve me of the bondage of self, that I may better do Thy will. Take away my difficulties, that victory over them may bear witness to those I would help of Thy power, Thy love, and Thy way of life. May I do Thy will always. So, obviously, this book was written back in 1939, I believe, and the wording was pretty old. So, I'm just going to tell you that prayer in layman's terms. It's going to be, God, take my will in my life, guide me in my recovery, show me how to live. So we got to take our will and just turn it over. This morning I was having a hard time getting motivated. I didn't want to do anything, and I just said a quick prayer. I said, God, I need to turn it over. Help me feel motivation. So definitely about an hour later, I kind of just sat around for an hour because I wasn't motivated. But after about an hour, I got up, got dressed, and here I am doing a video on YouTube. So definitely, if anyone has any questions, please write them in the comments, and I will try to answer them the best that I can. And also, don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Thank you.